Yo, what's up now, partner?
All the society is doing is leeching off the ghetto. They use the ghetto for their pain, for their sorrow, for their culture, for their music, for their happiness, for their movies, to talk about boys in the hood. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to be I don't want to be 50 years old at a BET We Shall Overcome Achievement Awards. You know what I'm saying? Not me. You know, I want when they see me, they know that every day when I'm breathing, it's for us to go farther, you know?
As a young man, my gateway into black culture was the late great Tupac. He was a multi-talented performer whose talents spread across music, poetry and acting. Initially starting out playing young gangster roles in films like Juice and Above the Rim, his later films saw him move away from being typecast and play characters who weren't defined by the colour of their skin. He was aiming for greater aspirations before his death in 1995. He is an example of what Martin Luther King proclaimed as a man who transcended colour and was judged on his moral character. He came from a generation of blacks that didn't beg whites for sympathy and instead used injustices he saw as a vehicle to inspire hope for a better day. Janelle Monáe shot to stardom due to her enigmatic and unique sense of style. Her albums were award-winning, generating fans across all colour lines. Similar to Tupac, her talents stretched across music and cinema. She plays characters who are defined or who must overcome injustice, racism, sexual discrimination in the workplace, or mothering a child from a single-parent household. Critics compared her to the artist Prince as she fought for new expressions in black culture, challenging stereotypes and blurring gender lines.
I was brought up in a black and white world, and yes, black and white, night and day, rich and poor, black and white. And I listened to all kinds of music when I was young. And when I was younger, I always said that one day I was going to play all kinds of music and not be judged for the color of my skin, but the quality of my work.
So does Monáe follow in her idol's footsteps?
What it is like for a black woman to carry the burden of systemic racism and white supremacy on their backs, on our backs, and try to dismantle it.
Sadly, in the last few years, Janelle Monáe has been peddling critical race theory and other tactics used by organisations like Black Lives Matter, who rather than try and unite the races together through a shared cause, instead thrive on creating division. If you are not an ally and believe in every single element of their rhetoric, you are a racist. Take for instance Spike Lee, an incredible filmmaker at the Cannes Film Festival, said that Trump didn't denounce white supremacy when Charlottesville occurred.
About David Duke. So I disavowed David Duke.
I disavowed then, I disavowed today. I'm willing to do anything. I want to see peace.
Then do it, sir.
Say it. Do it. Say it.
With our abilities to very easily use the internet to confirm or disavow such an accusation, the majority of everyday people in the wider media suppressed Trump's comments. Spike Lee was rewarded for his efforts on Black Klansmen, and the myth of living in a worse political climate than in the civil rights era continues to flourish. Steve McQueen, before winning an Oscar for 12 Years a Slave, was never interested in exploring races in his films, such as Shame or Hunger. Small Axe and 12 Years a Slave shower the audience with guilt and shame for the atrocities of the past. Why are these new champion diverse filmmakers reducing the black experience down to systemic racism and slavery? Surely with this newfound opportunity to tell new stories and new visions from the black experience, why are we seeing so many companies and filmmakers churn out more negative imagery? Are they reflecting the tone of the culture, or are the gatekeepers of Hollywood keeping the shackles well and truly on them?
Hopelessness is one of the big products of the race industry. That you have no chance. You have to produce that kind of feeling in order to serve the interests of those in the race industry.
Or even as something as inherently positive as Spider-Man Into the Spideyverse and its video game is always reminding its audience that black lives do matter, even when they are looking to turn off for the over-politicised climate of today. Whereas in the past, black culture was inviting all races to engage with their culture and content, it's now limiting its reach by the constant onslaught of identity politics, critical race theory, and the continued myth that blacks cannot make it equally in America. One can only hope that we can return to the thought patterns of Morgan Freeman, who I will let close out this video essay.
Sometimes I get so tired of talking about it, I want to just go, this is over, can we move on?
And if you talk about it, it exists.
Right.
Yeah. It's not like it exists and we refuse to talk about it, but making it a bigger issue than it needs to be is a problem.